want to start by saying, like, this was one of the best books I've ever read when it comes to business, because I feel like the majority of what the book was wrapped up in was mindset. And I feel like if you read this book, even not from a business point of view, you learned something about how to have a good mindset around just life in general. And I think that's what this last chapter, The Gift of Shift, really talks about. And I love how it starts out with, God grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know it's me. So you only have the ability to change your mindset and how you react to things and how you think about things. And I think this whole last chapter really talks about that, just over and over, about how you, every day when you wake up, you have a choice about what you're going to do with your business. And you have a choice about how you're going to think about things and how you're going to carry yourself as a person. And I think that's just really important to think about when you wake up every day, because you're going to start your day on a good foot if you think about it that way. I know in our team Power Up, we have our affirmations, and one of our agents says, I have the ability to choose my mindset, and today I choose joy. So every day, she makes the conscious effort to choose that. I think that's really powerful. I also have a little chunk that I wanted to read that kind of sums up everything that we talked about in this book. So the first little chunk on page 271, successful people shift always, continuously, relentlessly. Whether it's in a response to the market or their own goals, high achievers are always changing, altering, and adjusting. This is what their life looks like. Successful people know that they must constantly change and adapt if they are to stay successful. They know life is too big to think small and too short to move slowly. They know there are ups and downs. They know that old endings can give way to new and better beginnings. And they know that to triumph in any situation, they must always do one thing, which is shift. So we are always, always, always going to be in a shifting market. And it's all about how we're going to react to it. I think other quotes that I pulled out through the chapter all have to do with mindset. So you decide what times are easy or hard. A problem-free market does not exist. It's about becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. Even in tough times, there's so much to savor and to take nothing for granted. Did anything else stand out to you guys in this chapter around mindset and what you're going to carry forward when it comes to mindset?
I think that changing the name of shift and looking at shift as just the opportunity that comes with it, I think that's just a whole change in mindset, because I think shift can be a scary word. And if we change that word to opportunity, that changes the mindset. So just wrapping up the book in whole, to me, changing that word shift, it's like a book. This is a book about opportunity.
Right. And I think it's a book about just being adaptable. And like I said in the beginning, of course, yes, it has to do with your business. But if you think about like being more adaptable in your life and thinking about maybe a shift in your personal life as an opportunity, that'll help you out so much as well. Maybe take down a little bit of stress and down a little bit of anxiety. I used to be super resistant to change because it's scary. And as I've gone through life, I've realized, the more I embrace the opportunities that are in front of me, good or bad, the less stress and anxiety I'll have around these scenarios. So that's helped me a lot. I like the part where it says, act your wage. If you want to earn a certain amount of money, then you must live the calendar of a person who earns that, or they won't earn it. I really like that, because I heard about that a while ago, where if say you want to be the president of the United States, you should start acting as if you're the president of the United States, and eventually you'll get there. It's kind of like manifesting, I think, is what this is alluding to, which I am all about. So if I want to be a team leader, if I want to be a rainmaker, what am I doing in my everyday process that's going to get me to that place? That ties into time blocking, into using a 411, into accountability partners. Like this just snowballs into a whole thing. So if you want to have a successful business, what are you building into your everyday time block to get there? So with the shifting market, how are you getting ahead of things? How are you preparing your buyers and sellers to get in front of it to be successful? I would like to talk about our biggest ahas in general from the book. I know there's so much in this book that was said, but I would like to know what stood out most to you guys. We don't have very many people on cameras. Kelly, take it away.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that, I think just overall that we talk about this book being a book about the shifting market. And when you read it, it's just really getting back to the basics in your business, right?
Right.
Like doing the things that you should be doing from the very beginning and that you should never get away from. And we pull it out when we're starting to feel a shift. But the biggest aha just from the whole book in general is this is just a basic, these are the basic fundamentals for the most part about a real estate business.
Right. Right.
And it was this last chapter it was 281. It talks about the speed of need and like acting quickly and moving fast, but also taking a second to pause and being really clear on what you're acting on and how you're shifting in that quick way. And I think that goes to what you're saying, Kelly, is it's not about like always trying to think of some new crazy thing that you have to do, but it's being really clear and maybe looking back at the basics and things like we talked about last time, like just bulletproofing your transaction and thinking, okay, what should I be doing in this new market?
I like the concept of in that same on page 281 about slowing down to go fast. This is something that I've recently heard about in this past year, and it's helped our business so much because I'm the type of person, and I feel like in real estate, you'll find a lot of people that just want to get there. Like they just want to get there as fast as possible, and they want to skip the training and they want to cut corners, and you're going to miss so much of the good meat in the middle, and you're going to miss the fundamentals that we're saying are so important. And sometimes you do need to slow down to go fast. I know this translates a lot in onboarding. A lot of the time you just want to get through the onboarding and you want to get through the training so that it's less of a burden on the person doing the onboarding and you can just let them fly free. But if you invest more time into that and you slow down, you can go faster in the future together.
Well, and I think I think it's Gary Keller who has said over and over and over again that success is boring, right? Mm-hmm. Like slowing down, doing the things that, aren't necessarily so fast or what propels us to be the most successful.
Right. And then he says also that we fail our way to success and we shouldn't be afraid to fail. Think about in your life, if you've never failed at anything, how do you learn? Like Gary always says, you don't like success your way to the top. Like there's no way of that happening. Like no one has that good of luck in life where you don't struggle a little bit or you don't fail. So that's important to remember that the failures really do make us who we are. And we need to embrace those. And just like he says in the rest of the book, embrace the journey and get through those hard times. It's going to make you who you are today and in the future and everything like that. So I really liked that. I would like to do this exercise together. So in the book, it says it gives a little exercise of kind of like wrapping up our thoughts, putting them into action so that we can see results. So the first question I want to pose to you that we can take a minute or two to write about is, I want us to take a look at the 12 tactics. And if you can't remember all of them, they are on page 277. There's like a little 1 or 2 sentence liner about each tactic. And based upon your current situation in your business, if you could just do one tactic, focus on one tactic, which one would make the biggest difference in your business? So I just want to take a minute or two and go to page 277, look over the tactics, and maybe share personally from the team that you're on or the situation that you're in, what tactics you would be focusing on first. So what's at the top of your priority list? So let's just take a minute to read those over and then jot down one or two of them that you think is a priority to focus on first out of this book in the shift. Okay. Would anyone like to come off mute and share, or maybe even throw it in the chat, what tactic they will be focusing on first out of the book moving forward? Which one applies to their business the most at the moment?
I'd share. I can't turn my camera on because you'd all turn yours off. I'm actually, I caretake my mom in the morning, so I have to be moving around when I'm doing this. But then the number one thing is, I have two, but the number one thing is to remarginalize our expenses, which I work with my husband. We've worked together 25 years, actually, which is miraculous. And we talk about it almost every morning, but we don't really do it. We're great talkers, but we don't do it. That's, it's really critical to our survival. And then the other one for me is number 5, lead capture, which we do get a lot of leads. We have a lot of them. We're not the best. We're good with instant follow-up, not long-term follow-up. We're a resort market, and long-term follow-up is critical in a resort market. But what I found interesting in that was make sure everyone around you does the same. And that's the really tricky part of it.
So what's going to be your first step to start actually doing those things? Because you mentioned that you talk about it a lot, but you don't actually do them. So what's something you can do to actually have that conversation?
I think the very most important thing for me, because all the expenses are under my name on my credit cards. So it really is in my control, and I don't do this ever, but to sit down and really look through the credit cards and really see what are we paying for we aren't using, what's not providing ROI. I think the credit cards are the key to our entire expense structure. We put everything possible on there to get mileage. And so, and it helps. It should help if you look at them. It helps, versus looking at your bank statement or whatever. If it's all on a credit card, it just it categorizes so much easier. But you have to look at them. They just come in and they swipe out of the bank account, and it's sadly, I'm just being fully transparent. Months and months and months before I ever even open the statement. I just know they're going to get paid. And so, but there's so much stuff that we don't use, don't need, fit in a hot market, doesn't fit in a slow market. So for me, the very number one thing in the budgeting piece is to make some time to quietly, uninterruptedly look through my credit card statements and open them when they come in, not 4 months later.
That's awesome.
I love the exercise, and I used to have a team with he's my ex-husband. I wasn't as fortunate as you to work that long with him. We used to cancel our credit card once a year. One of our coaches told us that cancel your credit card once a year and see what you actually really need, right? Because sometimes you even just looking through the statements, you don't realize that you don't need anything. And then when you actually have to go back in and sign back up for it, it really makes you think about it.
How often, Kelly, because I know you have a lot of experience with a similar situation, how often did you look at ROI on all your expenses?
On my last team, we were, it kind of depended on what it was, because like if we were implementing a new, let's say mail marketing program, or we started farming, we weren't expecting to see an ROI on it right away. Setting kind of like a timeline of when you're going to start to look at that ROI and then start to track it. So just knowing if you've been doing internet lead generation for, 2 years, I mean, I would look at that on a, at least monthly basis. Yeah, and if you're starting something new, set a timeline for when you expect to get an ROI, because something you implement or not, you're not going to get an ROI immediately.
Yeah.
I would be looking at especially in a market like this, I'd be evaluating that what I'm spending money on at least a monthly basis, if not, bi-weekly or weekly, depending on the size of your team and your spending.
Yeah. Lori, I would love to see you build that into your calendar so you have those reminders to sit down and have those conversations with your husband. I think the first step is just building it in your calendar so you actually do it. So I'd love to see you do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna set that as a goal for myself. I have been caretaking for over 2 years now, and that's actually gonna pivot. I'm gonna move my mom to a better scenario, and then I hope that when I'm on Zoom calls in the morning, I can actually show my face, and but also that I can schedule, my time accordingly. Like, I'm going to get my mornings back, and that's going to be huge for me. I'm a morning person. It's my productive time, but it's taken, for something else right now that's been very important, but I can't take the toll anymore of it. So my mornings will be my time again. And that's a great time to review numbers. That's when I'm fresh.
Yes. First thing in the morning is when our energy is at the peak, and then we just slowly decline after that. So anything you can do in the morning, perfect. All right. What other tactics do you guys want to prioritize? I was thinking definitely, I have like a tie, I think. So mastering seller strategies. So tactic 7, and then tactic 3 is learning to do more with less. We're a super admin heavy team, yet still at times I feel as if we need more admin. So how can we reshuffle things to do more with less? So I think that's kind of standing out as my top one. Go ahead, Kelly.
I was just going to see if anybody else was going to go.
Oh.
I'm in a little bit different situation now in the role that I'm in. I'm the regional operations manager for all of the Keller Williams offices in Colorado. And what stood out to me, piggybacking on what Lori said, is remargining your business and expense management. We're seeing profits in our market centers going down because agents are, selling less, the market's shifting. And we really made a push on our mid-year budget reviews to reduce expenses, to push the operating principals to reduce their expenses by 10%. And, and that's not even enough in some scenarios. So really what stands out to me is remargining your business, really evaluating those expenses. What do you need? And what do you need? What can you live without? What can you renegotiate? We're talking with our operating principals about renegotiating leases. Like, you might be in a contract on something, and with the market shifting, can you go back and renegotiate those terms? So those are the things that we're doing in our business.
Time to get creative. Would anyone else like to share what tactic they will be prioritizing? All right. Well, the next step of the process is to go through the tactics that you'll be prioritizing and thinking about each one and asking yourself these 3 questions. Do I know how to do this? Do I need anything to do this? And do I need any help doing it? So I just want to take a minute or two to maybe go back to your top priority item and think to yourself about those 3 questions. Do I know how to do this? Do I need anything to do this? Do I need any help doing it? So let's just take a minute and reflect on that so that you can take this forward with you and enact some change. So I'll just give you a minute there, and then we'll reconvene. All right. So I'll just share my thoughts around mine since we only have 8 minutes left. So since mine was tactic 3, learning to do more with less, the first question is, do I know how to do this? Yes, I just need to put some time into it. The second question is, do I need anything to do this? And 2, that was also a yes. I need to know what our budget is and our options to shuffle things around to leverage most efficiently. And then do I need any help doing it? Yes, I need my COO and my DOO in the meeting with me. So moving forward, I'm going to put this on my calendar to talk about different options to shuffle things around. So maybe it doesn't feel like we need more people in our business. Maybe we're just doing too much, or we don't have the right people in the right roles. We can be more efficient a different way. So those are some of the things that I want to talk to them about. And that is my action item moving forward. I would love to hear your action items moving forward. I know we just prioritized, and I know Lori shared what she's going to do with her husband. If anyone else would like to share, the floor is open to you. Otherwise, we will wrap things up. All right. Okay, so I know, Brooke, I'm sure you have an announcement. We do have a shift class now that Stephanie Brackett will be teaching. Brooke, if you would like to talk a little bit about that, that might interest some of people.
Yeah, so I actually just posted that link in the chat. Two quick things. We have our group coaching program where we're continuing to have conversations like this actually with Coach Kelly and Coach Sam, as well as Coach Elizabeth, who isn't on the call right now. We are running an awesome promotion right now called Pink September, where we're doing $100 off of group coaching monthly for an entire year. And like I said, we're having conversations just like this and keeping each other accountable to the goals we set and what we say we're going to do in our businesses. The other thing we have coming up is October 5th. We have our brand new Shift Your Operations class with the systems queen, Stephanie Brackett. And that is, I mean, just going to be such an impactful class, because we are literally giving you how you shift the most important systems in your business to turn this market into one of opportunity. So that link is also in the chat. We would just love to keep the conversation with you going. So if you're in our Facebook group, we'd love to see your ahas and takeaways from this book club. And we'd love to see you go out and change your business and help others as well. And we're just so grateful that you joined us for this book club.
Yes, thank you guys so much for joining us over the past couple months. It's been a pleasure meeting you all. And like Brooke said, we can't wait to hear what you're going to implement moving forward, and we can't wait to see you carry it out. So thank you so much for spending your second and fourth Fridays with us. It has been a pleasure, and I hope to see all of you in the future.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Sam, for leading this for the entire time. You've done an amazing job.
Thank you. All right, bye, guys.